Hello everyone, my name is Beckett and welcome back to the channel. And last week we were talking about things massive regrets or just big mistakes that I know they wish they could take back, but they really can't, and we just have to move forward. Now it's very easy to hate on this game and pretty much easy to hate on anything, and especially if that's how you make your money, you're always going to find a reason to hate Division 2. Go on Google, hit Division 2 sucks. You're gonna find a million videos of people saying, oh, it's bad, it's bad. Yeah, there are a lot of bad things, and there's also a lot of great things about this game, and we're going to talk about the good things and things that Massive should be proud about. But before we get started, if you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe, and if you like the video, smash that like button. But first off, let's talk about skills and how they feel in Division 1 versus Division 2. Now, before in Division 1, we had some good skills, we had some bad skills, but most of the time, I felt like it was always broke down to one thing. Skills, are we going to heal ourselves or are we going to run a pulse? And those are the only ones that really felt good because they added damage or kept us alive, and most of the other skills generally felt kind of clunky, and it was just easier to run what we call today a red build, and we would just mix in the pulse, we'd mix in the healing depending if we were running Nomad, if we were running Predmark, whatever it may be. And now when we look at skills today, I think they are in a much better situation. Instead of feeling clunky, they are more of an extension of your agent, and it just feels more comfortable and more easy to use. We can play how we want and do things we want. And then when we look at Division 1, a lot of times we were just stuck into this spot, and I'm mostly talking in PvE because you can run into PvE in Division 2 and you can play with any skill, any loadout you want, and you are going to do well. You're not going to be doing the most damage, but you're able to have fun how you want to, and I want to think about that as a great thing, something Division 2 and Massive should be proud about, because most of the skills generally feel really great, and you can usually use whatever skill depending on what your playstyle is. And even some skills you can just test out, and they have so much synergy with so many different things when it comes to gear, exotics, you name it. I think it's just a great addition, and I hope they just keep going on this path and moving forward. Now let's take a look and realize how beautiful Division 2 is. Yeah, there's no snow, but that is okay. They have done so much, even just like the smallest details. You go inside any room, any place in this game, and you're gonna find the tiniest little details in the game that just makes it what Division 2 is, makes it what the Division is, and Massive should be so proud of that. And now in Division 1, we had a lot of snow everywhere, so they could cover it up, and a lot of the building designs were very rudimentary. They didn't have that much. It was just a lot of copy and paste. And when they had to come into Washington DC and they did a 1-for-1 map of Washington DC, you can tell it just looks beautiful. Everything you go, like I said, go to any room, you can just find these smallest little bit of details. Just look at the ground every once in a while and you can just be amazed of what the art team has done. And if anyone at Massive deserves a raise, it is the art team. They have been carrying this game for a long time, even when there was no content, when there was really nothing to do, whether it was Division 1 or Division 2, the art always shined. It always came above everything else, and I'm really grateful that we have such a beautiful game. All right, let's talk about the open world and just basically the light zone, basically Washington DC, anything that is not the dark zone, that's not a raid, any place that we can just walk around and have fun. I don't know if you guys remember, but in Division 1, the open world was very lacking. There wasn't really that much to do. We had a few like world bosses, but once you killed them, they were gone. I don't remember if you guys remember the Bullet King farm, just running out, killing him. And there was really nothing to do after you finished the campaign and your side missions. It was a dead city to you. It was just a way for you to run through and get to the dark zone really quick. Other than that, there wasn't ever anything else to do in the world. Now, when we look at the open world in Division 2, it is quite amazing. There is so much to do, from when they added targeted loot, which was huge. When I came back and I was like, oh my god, I can farm whatever I want, wherever I want. If I just want to do control points, let's say I love this place. And then when they added in the summit, which I don't think was the best thing, but you can definitely, if you like the summit, you can go in there and farm out any pieces you want. And a lot of times I will spend time in there just to farm out certain builds, certain sets. Let's say I'm looking for a certain talent on a certain gear piece. I will spend a couple hours there and get what I want. out, and that is a good thing, even though we need some windows inside the summit, which would be nice. But other than that, the whole open world, it is a living, breathing place. There's always somewhere to go. There's always something to do. Sometimes I just like take a break from control points and I come back and I'm like, oh man, I'm having so much fun. I can go to these different zones, do these different things, and always have a lot of fun and know I am getting meaningful rewards. Yeah, it's a shooter looter. We're gonna have to take some time. There's RNG. You may get 100 pieces and only one is good, but that is the nature of the type of game that we play, and it's just a very fun open world, and I just love it so much more compared to what it was in Division 1. Now let's take a look at exotics and how far they've come and where they were when we first started this game back in Division 1 many years ago. So I don't know if you guys played a lot of Division 1, but we had two different type of exotics, and that was it. Either you did more damage or you took less damage, and that's pretty much it. Even when it came to those skill exotics, it was just like, okay, I'm either going to do more damage or I'm going to take less damage, and those were your only choices you ever had. Now they started to follow that same trend when we hopped into Division 2, and you can see things like Imperial Dynasty, other things like that, and they were just very boring, very stale exotics. Now let's take a look at any exotic that has come out after Warlords of New York, how they perform, how they change the game, and how they change the way you play. The first example is a great one, the Lady Death. So SMGs have always been an aggressive build, but it automatically changes how you play, how you move. Every time you move, you get 4 stacks, and whenever you start running, you get 8 stacks. So it already incentivizes you to move very fast, and for each stack you have, you do 75% of amplified damage for each bullet. So when you get up to max stack, it's going to push you to keep pushing in aggressively. Once you get that kill, you start even moving faster and you get that 20% movement speed bump, and it completely changes how things work. Instead of staying behind cover, you are kind of forced into this position where I want to play aggressive, I want to move aggressive, I want to tear down this person's armor. And then we look at other things like we have Ridgeway's Pride, where it made certain builds that were obsolete, certain exotics, let's say Chatterbox, where it just didn't perform that well. But as soon as you throw on a Ridgeway's Pride and you put Adrenaline Rush on, and you can go crazy with Chatterbox and do some insane damage and just be a walking tank. It's just so much fun. And we take a look at another exotic, which is the Memento. How many builds do you guys have right now that the Memento is in? I can tell you right now that I probably have like 20 or 30 different builds that make the Memento amazing, or the Memento just makes these builds amazing. I wouldn't be able to do it any other way. It not only does that, but it helps people get into certain type of content that they wouldn't be able to get into normally. Like before, when you wanted to do PvP, you want to go in the dark zone, you'd have to need a certain amount of armor regen, or you just weren't going to survive. You weren't going to have that great of a day. Now you can go in the dark zone and you can go farm out your 30 stacks, your memento. You already have that 3% armor regen. You're already going to do well. You don't have to worry about having all this golden gear. You don't have to worry about the bellstone, all this different stuff that is going to make you into a god in PvP. Sure, will help, but it is not the defining factor in the game. Not only does the memento help in PvP, it helps in PvE. It adds so many features to different builds. You're able to make certain builds into god builds, and certain builds that were just not up to snuff, that could barely get you through challenging, now they are just smashing heroic. You can do certain things solo, group wise, you name it. It just makes certain things amazing, and it's a very fun exotic to play with. And I'm very glad that Division and Massive took a chance on exotics and decided to spice things a little bit up, added these different features. Whether or not they are realistic, it's still very fun to play with. Finally, let's talk about global events. Man, were they just dog crap. They were just very terrible situation almost all of Division 2. And Division 1, they had some really nice global events, and for a while the whole community and myself wished we could go back and have those old global events. But ever since about the last 3 or 4, when they updated and changed it from the Guardians to the Golden Bullets, and now this Shade Exposed, once you got it down, they are the most fun thing in the game. And honestly, I can't wait for Guardians to come back. I can't wait for the global event Golden Bullet to come back. And while Shade Exposed is here, I'm going to keep playing it. It is just so fun. You can do a lot of crazy stuff with builds that just like normally wouldn't really do much, but you can just go in, have fun. Who cares if you die? You are having a blast. I don't know if you guys play Golden Bullet, but if you didn't, you were truly missing out. You were just pretty much doing double your damage everywhere and you were just rushing. I was just rushing with a red build. I died probably 5 to 10 times in a mission, but I was having fun and I did not stop playing. And another thing is that they did great. They incentivized us to do global events again. So they brought in that global event shop. We can farm for our name caches, our exotic caches, whatever cache you really want. Maybe you're looking for a certain seasonal item and you want to get that. It makes it so we want to keep playing it, keep us in there. Not only is it fun gameplay, but it is engaging and rewarding gameplay, and that just marks all those little dots that I have for the game. Now we could talk about the good things, we could talk about the bad things all day, and there are a million of them, but at the end of the day, when I compare Division 1 to Division 2, there are some sections of Division 1 that I just loved so much, and I think a lot of it is a little nostalgia, and a lot of it was just great gameplay, great atmosphere. The reason I like making these videos, whether I talk about the bad things or the good things, it gives me a chance to step back and look at both games objectively and see what one game did better and one game did worse. And at the end of the day, I think if anyone just takes a step back and looks at both of them from an objective opinion, they'll find that Division 2 is a better product. It may not be the product that you want, but overall I think it is a better product. Now I would love to hear what you guys think Division 2 has done great, what Division 2 has done bad, down in the comments. And if you are looking for other videos, I do build videos, tutorials, Division 2 news, everything for old players to new players and everything in between. And thanks again for watching.